All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Men and Nutrition. My name is Robin, certified nutrition specialist, and I think this is an annual happening. We do this every year. This is year number 3 for Black Men and Nutrition, and it's one of my favorite topics because I am of a Black man. I love a Black man, and I love Black men wholeheartedly. And I don't need to say about the health disparities that Black men face. It's widely known. And then the solution is very, very complicated. There's so many reasons to which we're not going to be able to get into all of the reasons why, but I want to talk about some solutions. And I mentioned to you that I am a nutritionist for the past 16 years. One of the things that I know is very, very impactful on our health, which is what we're going to talk about, which never goes out of style. And if you go to the doctors, they'll say, change your diet, eat more fruits and vegetables. So that has always been a given. Eat more fruits and vegetables. But eating more fruits and vegetables is not always easy. It's not always available. There was a time where 5 a day was the recommended serving. Now it's 7 to 13 servings, which is very difficult to do. So we found an easy way, convenient way, effective way to bridge the gap between what you should be eating and what you are eating in terms of fruits and vegetables. Because for Black men, for Black women, for people, fruits and vegetable consumption is very impactful at a cellular level. So if we were to consume more produce, we would have better everything, less inflammation, less disease. The list goes on and on and on. And so the challenges we face oftentimes are due to nutritional deficiencies gone unchecked. So I pray that, and I know that there are going to be those of you that are listening that this is going to click and this is going to make sense. I'm going to introduce you to three amazing men, and there are so many, but we wanted to keep it to 3 to share with you their stories, their health stories, their inspiration, and again, hopefully you will glean some inspiration from them as well. So we're talking about fruits and vegetables, a convenient way we take them in capsules, which sounds crazy when I first heard about it. It's fruits, vegetables, 30 of them put into a grinder, the water taken out, and it's turned into a powder and it's put into a capsule. So we're taking concentrated produce. That's what it is. It's nothing extra in there. It's the pits, the peel, the seed. That is what is in there. And it's very effective. So I want to introduce you to Arnold Brown. Arnold, where unmute yourself and then tell us where you are in Louisiana, right?
Yes, that's correct.
You were in Louisiana. Now,
Uh-huh.
is it true, and I hope that I'm not spreading rumors, that you lost, it was a significant amount of weight?
Yes,
I
ma'am. I
don't,
lost 63 pounds in
60,
18 weeks.
63 pounds. And why? Like, what was the catalyst for you?
Well, I'm going to say it like this. If I did not do anything with my health at the time, I was definitely on a trajectory where I could have started accruing some health issues. I was 217 pounds, and with a history in my family of diabetes and high blood pressure, that was definitely the route that I was on.
Okay. And you just had a wake up call? Was it what made you just said, okay, I know
Oh,
this is right for me, or
well, what's funny about that is for me, oh my goodness, it's a lot I can say. It's a
okay.
lot that I can say, but I think that I'm thinking about something right now, and I probably should say it because it's the first thing that's coming to my mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it like this.
Okay.
I started losing weight on May 10th of 2020,
Okay.
but it was that same month, if we all remember, that George Floyd took place.
Okay.
And I was already on the trajectory of losing weight, but it was really at that point in time when that incident took place that I realized that as a Black man, that
Mhm.
if I did not love myself
Oh, wow.
first,
Uh-huh.
that nobody else was going to be able to do it for me.
Wow. You're trying to make people cry, I think. I think you are trying to. Uh-huh. So it was just showing up and loving yourself and
Because
knowing.
I was at a place in my life, Robin, where I hated the job that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to, and it's funny because I've been writing, I've been journaling, and I'm actually planning to write a book about this. But I was
Okay.
trying to leave the country. I had
Oh,
joined the Peace Corps. I was
okay.
getting ready to leave, but something told me I needed to deal with myself. I
Okay.
needed to deal with this denial, with everything that I was dealing with on the inside. And because I dealt with it, I
Uh-huh.
changed my life.
You changed your life. Okay. And the health was a part of that. That's very good. There is a point, where and well, let me ask you this. So at some point, and I don't know when, but you got introduced to these fruits and vegetables in a
Yeah.
capsule. So where'd that come in?
So I had already lost, at that time, I had already lost 63 pounds in
Mm-hmm.
18 weeks. I had went from 217 to 154. I was saying to myself, my goodness, I need to start putting some more mass on my body. I looks too small. So I
Okay.
started lifting weights. But what I realized, because I was doing the diet, the keto diet at the time, is that
Mm-hmm.
I was deficient in
Ah.
vital nutrients. And if you know anything about the keto diet, it's very low in carbs. You're
Mm-hmm.
barely eating any carbs at all. You have to eat a high amount of fat. And so being that I didn't have the vital nutrients, I was looking at a way that I can get more fruits and vegetables in my diet. And one of the things that I considered was going vegan. But if we know anything about this economy right now, I think all of us feel it. It ain't cheap.
Uh-huh.
It ain't cheap at all. So I met Patrick Van Duzy one day in the gym. That's a
Okay.
story all by itself. And lo and behold, I find out about how we can get fruits and vegetables in the capsule. And let me just say, I was sold.
Did it make sense? Initially, did it make sense?
Yeah, because it was a gap. It was a little
Uh-huh.
gap in my diet. I knew I
In
needed it.
that.
I was
Uh-huh.
already trying to figure out a means to get it in there. And when I found out that I can do it in a way that's very low in caloric intake, it
Uh,
was a no-brainer.
it was a no-brainer. And so you started taking the fruits and vegetables in the capsule. And what, if anything, did you notice? Wait, actually, let me put this disclaimer in there, everybody. We are not making any medical claims. I have to say that because you're going to hear stories, and some of them are, seemingly very phenomenal. Everybody has their own journey. Your body knows what to do with this produce. Whenever you're giving your body what it needs, it will do what it needs to do for you. And individually, we're all different in what it does. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're not making any medical claims. Okay, Arnold, what happened? If
Well, I
any.
mean, I could tell you like this. We have research, as you have mentioned,
Yeah.
and I could tell you I was taking the fruit, vegetables, and omegas when I first started.
Okay.
This was
Okay.
recommended to me by Patrick, and I think he ideally recommended the omegas because of inflammation.
Okay.
Big talk on that. But long story short, I took that for 6 months. I got my blood work done in 6 months, and my doctor told me that my iron levels were great, that my testosterone levels were awesome. And here's his exact words. And we've already put this disclaimer in there, but I'm gonna give some research to kind of really get you guys thinking. That he said to me that the chances of me getting a cardiovascular disease is slim to none.
Wow.
Now, it wasn't until probably a few months later when I was on another call that I heard a holistic doctor talk about this. But we have a study based on the omega index. And what the
Okay.
omega index talks about is the cardiovascular. And there's a range where you're at risk of cardiovascular disease and you're not. If you're between
Okay.
0 and 4, you're at risk. If you're
Okay.
between 4 and 8, you're moderate. And if you're above 8, then you're not at risk at all. And this is
Mhm.
all in the research. You can literally go on the website and find this. So my conclusion, especially with my doctor telling me that, is because I was taking the things that I needed to.
Mhm.
And I was taking these omegas. I was literally putting something in my body that has the means to
Mhm.
prevent
Yeah.
cardiovascular
And
disease.
wow. Thank you for that. I think I'm going to come back to you because I want to make sure that I get to talk to Daryl and Keith, and then we'll come back at the end. But your journey is just very powerful. And again, those that are listening, this is for you that's listening, but don't let it just fall on your ears. This is for your loved ones, your brothers, your all the people in your family that you love. I always say the people that I love the most, I I I make sure as best that I can, so people are resistant, but that they get their fruits and vegetables in this way because I know it's very powerful. So we're going to come back to you. Thank you so much. Now, Daryl, you too, you too had a health transformation, and I don't want to start any rumors about you either, but you released a significant amount of pounds too. Is that true, Daryl?
That is correct.
Okay. And so what, I don't want to, what, how, if you don't mind saying, what was the amount?
Over a period of time, I think it was over 100 pounds,
100 pounds.
and
And
still got a long ways to go.
okay.
But
Yeah.
no, I did. It was
Yeah.
backtracked a little bit, but I'm just trying to stay back on and stay on task and keep moving forward.
You know, the struggle is real. I think if you would just say, yeah, I lost 100 pounds and it was easy breezy and I didn't have any struggles, then that wouldn't seem realistic because we know that it's a, I would say like you're riding a mechanical bull and it's trying to throw you off. You're trying to hold on. Like this health journey is a journey. It's evolutionary.
Yeah.
So it is not just a straight, it's not a straight path.
Well, the thing is, Robin, a lot of times for me, you're constantly fighting behavior that's been with you for a long time. You know,
Yeah.
growing up, I think you've heard me say that before. Growing up, my mom was, as we said, was a great cook. She could cook all the foods and all that kind of stuff, and we ate. And I can think about how my dad used to always say, um, "Get all you want, but make sure you eat all you get." You know, and give you the story about
Mm,
people out there starving, clean your plate. So that was always in my mind.
yeah.
I still to this day, I clean my plate in a sense.
Got
You just have to make sure what's on that plate and what you're cleaning. But that's there, that kind of behavior is there. And so you learn those habits. And then even how we used to almost like sometimes my dad, my brother and I, it's almost like we sit and see, who could eat the most, things
Uh-huh.
like that. And so you kind of develop those habits. And while you're growing up young, you're moving around, you're getting exercise, you're doing it, play, you're burning out of energy. Then you start getting older in a career and different things like that. Computer at the desk, not as much activity. If you don't plan that, then it just it over time,
Yeah.
and you
Over.
just watch these things happen. You say, "How did I get here?" you
Mm,
know. And so, and I mean, I played football and going up, middle school, high school, college, all that stuff, and played on the offensive line. So, they were big guys back in those days. And so, you were trying to maintain that weight and eat and stuff like that. And so
okay.
those things have been a part of me for a long time. And so just trying to, again, identify those behaviors, but also the psychological stuff that happens,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
that what I call that fat complex. And even one time when I dropped, back to about 2 pounds, but still in my mind, I was still, this other side.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of work on both the aspect and the nutrition, all that, but also the mental part of it too.
Mental
And
part.
it's very important.
That's very powerful. Yeah, it's the struggle is always real. You and I want to say this, you're in Georgia, right?
I
Georgia.
am Atlanta.
Okay. Atlanta, Georgia. And now you've been taking these fruits and vegetables for how many years? A long time. How many years?
Juice Plus came out in March of 1993. And so
So 30,
I have been taking that ever since then,
30 is that 31 years? 31
31
years?
years in a
31
few
years.
months.
And so it's been so long, but do you know what did you notice? I mean, it's been a long time. So what would you say that you noticed by making sure you've had this produce in your body?
I never, I never quite had this where, I was really sick and now it was anything. And I said, now I'm taking this, but consistently
And you're cutting out a little bit. Your
the product was
video.
introduced. I mean, my NMD came back from San Diego and say, take this, I'm taking this stuff, Daryl, and I'm strong as a horse. And so I say, okay, well, I need to be a product of the product. So let me take this and just don't question it. And I just have been doing it ever since then. And and I've never been off it long enough to kind of say, well, let me see what it feels like now. So it's
Uh,
just been my system. I trust the research and everything and what have you. And then when I go to the doctor and even with the weight I was at, my blood pressure readings, all that stuff would come back very much in line. You would think somebody with weight, maybe my blood pressure would be high, but it's not. Very good readings on that kind of stuff and different things like that. So, but I mean, I just been consistent with that, and the thing about it is One of the motivational speakers I listened to, Jim Rohn, always said, "What's easy to do is also easy not to do." And it's easy to take those capsules. In fact, they sit right next to, when I wake up, it's right next to the shelf.
To do it. I think well, I think you're frozen. Is it just me or is he frozen? Somebody tell me if it's me. I need somebody to unmute and tell me.
He's frozen. He's
okay.
frozen.
He is frozen. Okay, because thank you. So Daryl, you are frozen, but you might not know it because you're frozen. So we will come back to Daryl. We'll bring Keith in just a second. There was something that Daryl said that I wanted to comment on, but that brain fog got me a little bit like, what was I going to say again? No, I think, but Daryl, when he comes back, we'll see him. I want to introduce you to Keith. And Keith, are you there? Oh, I know what I want to say about to Daryl is that because he's been in this healthy space in this community, because we're all this big, huge community, when it's that association where you're within this community, and if you are falling, then you're inspired to get back onto your health game because there's so many of us and we lock arms together as a community. All right, so Keith, let me see you. Are you here?
I think you lost me for a minute there. I
did lose you. You froze. Yes. So I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna go to Keith right now. Keith, are you somewhere?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And
Okay.
your part of your story is going to excite. If you, because I'm gonna have you just say it because you said it to me. We'll say it in a minute. Excite men on this call. But okay, so you got introduced to these fruits. Here's my question. You got introduced to the fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Did it make sense to you? Were you just on board or were you resistant?
No, I was not on board at all.
Correct. Go ahead. And why not?
Well, not necessarily for a particular reason or anything like that. I've always been a semi-healthy guy already anyway. And so my cousin said, "Hey, how are you doing with your nutrition?" Me, myself, I'm doing pretty good. I've made some adjustments as far as my lifestyle, eating and everything. And so I'm doing okay. And so she said, "Well, I want you to try Juice Plus." And I said, "Well, what is it?" She says, "There's some vitamins." I said, "Sure, try it. Send them to me. I try them out." And I initially, my plans were to try for about 3-4 months and then go on about my business because my daughter was also doing some other things too. So I wanted to still try to support. And so I go to the beach with a group of great guys once a year. And I started Juice Plus about 3 years ago. And when I went to the beach, I had.
Uh-oh, we lost you.
I got kicked off for a second.
Okay, we're like, when I went to the beach. Okay, go ahead.
And so we went to the beach. I had been taking Juice Plus maybe about 3 to 4 months, maybe by that time. And before I went to the beach, my cousin said, "Hey, just start tracking your changes. Track to see how you feel." And in my mind, well, I'm quite sure I'm gonna be okay. And so I got to the beach. I was looking forward. We go to this restaurant every time we go down that way, and I look forward to eating this food. Great food at Myrtle Beach. And so we get to the beach, get to the restaurant. I order exactly what it was that I wanted. I wanted some ribs, wanted some collard greens, black eyed peas, some sweet potatoes. They were good. They were good. They were good. And I couldn't wait to eat them. And so I sat down, started eating the food, and I couldn't chew it up at all. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I didn't get a chance to eat, and I ate something else. And then maybe a few months went by, and I started realizing, because my cousin called me, she said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing pretty good." She said, "Have you noticed any changes?" I said, I think one. She said, "What is it?" I said, "Well, I've noticed my taste buds have changed." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I went to the restaurant, the place I normally like to eat, went and ordered the food that I wanted, and I started eating. I couldn't eat the food. And I noticed, and I started thinking more. When I walked in, I could smell the difference. I could smell the food itself. It just it didn't sit right. And again, I wasn't thinking anything about the Juice Plus, but the more I started taking, the more months went by, I said, well, I'm going to start tracking what type of changes happen with me and my body. Because my cousin said, just make sure that any new change, you let me know. I said, okay. Now, I started with the red, the purple, and the green. That's the fruits, the vegetables, and the berries.
Right.
Those were the three I started with. And after maybe about a year, I used to have issues with my nerves tingling in my fingers. When I would sit down, laying on my back or something with my hands crossed, my pinky would start to kind of tingle a little bit, as if, you know, you kind of like you're falling asleep when you're sitting on the toilet after long periods of time. That went away. And then that didn't bother me anymore. And then some more years went on. Then my cousin called me again. She said, well, how are you doing? And I talked to her about that. And she said, have you considered the omega? And I said, well, because I work out and I have some knee issues and back issues and stuff like that. And so she was explaining and let me know that how those omegas will provide all the essential oils that are necessary and needed for the body. I said, well, sure, let me try that out too. And so now I'm on now I have 4 that I'm taking. And time goes on, maybe about a year and a half, almost 2.
Wait, before you're not about to tell about the most exciting thing yet for the men. You're not gonna tell us that yet.
I'm heading into it.
Well, hold on, because that's the clincher.
Okay.
Hold on for a second. What I want to say is that yes, the taste buds change, you guys. When you're getting good stuff in your body starts to reject what maybe it shouldn't have, and makes you crave the good stuff. And what I also love that you said, Keith, is you were going to try it for 4 months, which is what we recommend. And then after 4 months, it was like, okay, this is working for me. And then I also want to point out that your cousin is a nurse practitioner. So she is like just really, really knowledgeable. And so I'm glad that she introduced you. Okay, now get to the rest of the story. This is the good stuff.
And so as the time goes on, I'm talking to my cousin again because I'm a disabled veteran. And so they track my blood work, they track my my results and everything else as well. And so she said, has anything else changed? I said, well, there's a few things I do notice. And I said, during sexual intercourse, I can tell that I have a harder erection. I can tell that the recovery time is a lot shorter. And as men, as we get older, a lot of things change. 17, 18, 19 years of age, you wake up with morning wood all day long. Right. As we get older, those things change as time goes on. And I noticed that came back.
Wow.
And then as time went on, I've never been an overweight guy. But I've always wanted to try to get back down to a solid 200 pounds.
Okay.
I've been able to maintain my weight. Health-wise, I just feel better. And with that feeling of better, kind of like the first guy mentioned, as far as your perspective and attitude, how I perceive certain things. And so now I ensure that those healthy behaviors that I typically try to do on a daily basis, those are things that I try to make sure I implement consistently because I feel better overall. And so throughout this whole Juice Plus journey, I've enjoyed the entire journey.
You are amazing. And I think that, what do I think? Well, let me just say this. When you let people know, and I'm so grateful for your openness and willing to share that you had some better sexual function, probably the men were like, okay, wait, now I need some of this. And I'm gonna just tell you this, y'all, it's fruits and vegetables. It's just that we don't get enough. So all the things that in your body that needed support, whatever that is, get supported when you give it the proper nutrients. I'm saying that because they may have not heard anything else, right? But they heard that. Okay. So those of you who heard it, or you want to share it with people that you love, contact the person that invited you here, because they can help you get started and help you figure out what's the best plan of action for you. And so some people will hear this and they'll say, oh, it's Juice Plus, let me go look on Amazon. That's a no-no. because it's way expensive on Amazon, and Amazon is not where you're supposed to get it from. It's just people have it and they resell it and all those things. So I want to put that out there because that's what happens. Contact the person that invited you here so that you can, again, figure out what's best for you. And then ask that person, if you have a child that's up to 20 to 25 years old, they can get for free. That's an option for a dependent. So, wow, that was amazing, all of you. Is there anything, because we're wrapping up our time, is there anything else that you wanted to say, Keith? And I'll just go back around before we wrap it up. Is there anything you wanted to wrap up and say, or anything that you left out?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Now, I will say one. Let me try to turn the video back on. My apologies.
Okay.
I will say one thing. Along with, once I started taking the Omega blend, something else I also rather the oils. The Omega. Yeah. I can tell that my saliva in my mouth, it's almost as if at times I can tell I have a bit more saliva, if anything, at times. But I did notice that after starting with the oils.
The oils. Wow, you're good with what you noticed. The omegas are all plant-based, so those that are listening, there's no fish. They skip the middle fish and go straight to the source, which is the algae. So I appreciate that. All right, hang on, Keith. Let me go back to Daryl. And
Okay.
Daryl, are there any last minute words that you want to say or anything that you missed? Because
Robin, it's interesting what Keith said about the sexual thing. I had a customer, one of my customers, I think about years ago, who had gone through prostate cancer and surgery, and this was experienced as impotence. And then he got on Juice Plus, started taking it. And one day he called me and told me, he said, man, some things have happened here. It's better. And then he got off the product and I'm like, are you crazy?
Wow.
Why would you stop taking it when it helped you kind of get back to what Keith was talking about?
Yeah.
No, I just believe in I know it works. I trust the science, and I gotta keep doing it and sharing it with other people and letting folks know here's the option. We're not saying fruits and vegetables, it bridges that gap to fill in.
And people stop because they forget. They feel better and they just don't sometimes even realize that it is related to that produce. And so when you're feeling good, you stop doing what you're doing. And then I've had people over the years stop, then they don't feel like how they wanted to feel, and then they resume. So sometimes it's just that process. But thank you for that. And then Arnold, any last minute, anything before we go?
Honestly, I think it really boils down to this. I mean, the other brothers, I'm just sitting here like, wow, like this is absolutely powerful. But it just boils down to this action. It is already said, you can find this article online, that Black men have the worst health in America. The worst. And if we really look into that, a big deal of that does have to do with what we're consuming on a regular basis.
Correct.
How can we begin to reverse that, if you will? It's by not only hearing what has been said today, but it's by taking action.
Thank you. And I'm going to close up by saying this. People think that I'm crazy. So these fruits and vegetables, they're in a capsule and they look like a vitamin, but they're legitimately just the fruits and vegetables. They're you can swallow them. I do not like to swallow them. I put them in my smoothie every day. My hubby, he's on here maybe. He doesn't like to swallow them. And so I have him doing the chewables, but I will chew this capsule. And so I just want to, maybe you guys are willing to do it. I can't get him to do it, but I am chewing the capsule. I put it in my mouth and I chew them. I would chew the fruit, I would chew the vegetable, and I would chew the berry. The casing is all food. I would chew it. So don't let swallowing them be the excuse. If you don't like to swallow them, you can chew them. So I challenge y'all at least once, just try it and see if it works for you. I'm going to turn off the recording. I enjoy chewing you guys. Makes me really happy. So contact the person. Yes. And there's gummies. There's actual chew. They have ones that are actually designed to chew. But I don't want those. So I actually chew the regular ones, the green ones, even the ones that have like garlic, the green ones, I chew them. So I waited to take them so I could chew them in front of you guys. So you know that it's a real thing. So contact the person that invited you here to figure out, and you can be like Keith and say, you know what, I'm just going to try it for 4 months because that's when we know that our blood changes and it's really effective, at least for 4 months. Give it a try and see how you feel. Those that are listening, my challenge for you is to share this with someone else and go out and be great. Each one teach one, and we want you to eat well, think well, and be well. I'm going to turn the recording off, and then if there are any questions or comments, we can do what we call is the after party. But again, before I turn off the recording, I just want to remind those that are listening to contact the person that invited you here so you can figure out how you can get this into your life.